at my door. This is what it feels like.
Welcome, good morning, and it's Wednesday, isn't it?
It
We're
is.
all
This is
excited.
Indeed, how it feels like to get to the middle of the week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Lotto staker, you'd be excited because it's midweek. You know, so you have to show, to direct, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm glad.
Are you trying
I'm
to tell us
not.
something, or I'm just?
Well, I mean, we have viewers who stake Lotto.
Yeah, so he's
who-
just being on the
as
bright
in,
side.
As in me, do I stake Lotto? Well, it's not a crime. I mean, the Pope is still a Catholic. Well, so the Lotto
Do you?
members
The
are
question was simple.
Exactly. He's trying
Yes,
to dodge
it's a
it.
yes or no. This one, if it was exam, you'd have failed.
Do I do
Anyway,
what?
guys,
Do I
good
do what?
one. No, I
If
will
it's
ask
an
again.
objective question, I would have options.
You have yes or no.
Yeah.
A,
Yes.
B,
It's just
C.
a yes or a no.
no, never happened. Can
Ghana's
happen.
exams are usually 4 options.
Not
yes,
all.
no, maybe.
We are setting
none
the
of
question.
above.
We've
Yeah,
told
we've
you your
given you
options.
yes or
Yes
no.
or no.
No. About yes or no to
And-
which question?
My
Can
friend,
you
don't
put the
bring it.
question
It's
out?
okay that we can't repeat. This is not news. Anyway, guys, good morning and thank you once again for joining us in your Super Morning Show. It's midweek. It's Wednesday. If Bright was here, we'll be buying pizza today. But unfortunately, he's not here. But we say good morning to him wherever he is. I told you he's been caught in the air somewhere, but he would arrive. You definitely see him. So those of you who have been asking about his whereabouts, he's in good hands. He's safe. We're happy he's well. Anyway, and thank you again. It's a beautiful morning,
Do you feel
guys.
the Hamatan coming up, Solace?
Yeah, my nose feels
Yeah,
it. I
it's
haven't been
really-
able to breathe for a
It's just
while.
coming up. I don't.
It
you don't
tends to
feel
be
it.
rather warm. I don't know. In the evenings especially, I've realized
Really?
it's getting warmer
Yeah.
than before.
Well,
If you're
I-
single and it's getting warm, you'll be excited about
Why?
it.
Why would you be?
Well, because you need the warmth for
What
whatever
does
it-
being
We've
single have
had
to
the
do
warmth
with being?
irrespective.
What
It
does being
has-
single have to do with being warm?
I don't
or-
know, but some of the
No,
theories
explain it to
that-
us. Obviously,
some
you
of
have
the
an idea.
theories
So
that- no, it's not an idea. It's a theory. It's a whole
Really?
theory. You need to
Propounded
Postulated
by-
by.
say again.
Postulated
yes,
by.
I mean,
propounded
so-
by.
You're a scientist, so you should back your information.
No, I'm not a
Credible.
scientist anymore.
Source
I'm a
your
journalist
source,
now.
please.
Still,
You are a
with
journalist, your
journalists, you
source.
need
Say
credibility.
Your source.
You know that the law says I shouldn't quote my source. It doesn't.
Johnny, this morning you're just being vague. Anyway, but it's time for the news with Solace Rose Corte.
All right, we'll have some news from the world of politics, health, business, as well as the weather. All right, so top of the bulletin this morning, Ghana Standards Authority reveals more than 80% of electrical cables on the market are fake and are a major cause of fire outbreaks in the country. Staggering revelations, none of the commercial trains in the country is insured. Now, former caterers of the school feeding program petition the ministry over arrears owed them by government. We have all these and more in the detail shortly. Stay with us. Right, thank you very much for staying with us. I am Solace Rose Corte, and into our first story, more than 80% of electrical cables on the market are fake, a major cause of fire outbreaks in the country. Now, that is according to the Ghana Standards Authority. Admitting to its failure in ensuring safety compliance, the authority says it has begun a market surveillance intended to expose defaulting importers.
In 2016, over 3,000 fire outbreaks were recorded in the first quarter of the year. Data from the National Fire Service indicate a total of 1,897 fires were recorded over the same period this year, representing an 85% reduction. Most of the fires, according to the fire service, were as a result of electrical faults, even though negligence, carelessness and ignorance were also factors. Substandards, cables and poor wiring or connections have been a major contributory factor. the Ghana Standards Authority has the mandate to test and certify the quality of cables. We are currently at the electrical cable testing lab of the Ghana Standards Authority. Here, all forms of cables, those that are manufactured locally and imported ones, are supposed to be tested and certified here before they find themselves on our market.
The conductor resistance is a minimum requirement, and 1.5 mm cable should have 12.1 ohm per kilometer. Now, if the copper is very pure, we believe that it will not cause fire when your electrical wiring system are okay. You do not overload your appliance or your terminal. To get a refined copper is expensive, but that is the requirement of the standard. Therefore, if they use a cheap cable, a cheap copper, you are going to get a conductor resistance which is higher than the minimum requirement, and that makes it cheap for them. Unfortunately, Ghanaians want to buy this into the market, and then the unsuspecting public buys, and then they are cheated.
How much of this do we have on our markets?
Well, I can say that over 80% of the cables we have in the market are very, very bad.
The Executive Director of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, admits his outfit has not lived up to its mandate.
I think it's a two-way issue. One of them has been that hitherto our market surveillance would have been much less ideal, or it's weak, bluntly.
Currently, what is the key and most important element of measures that you are instituting to ensure that this situation is brought under control?
Within the next 4 weeks, GSA will be publishing to all Ghanaians the results of the market surveillance on the products on the market. We will let Ghanaians know the proportion which are failing, and naturally those which are failing would have to be removed from the market. You cannot let it be sold to anyone.
Consumers need to be empowered to be able to at least identify correct cable that conforms to standards.
We have marking requirements, okay, labeling and marking requirement. The cable should have brand name, country of origin, the standard specification, the size of the cable, the color of the cable. Okay, so manufacturer's name or address should also be there.
Clearly, there is more to be done in ensuring that cables on the market conform to safety standards.
All right, now let's move on from that. The Ashanti Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority has uncovered an additional 500 cartons of unregistered mackerel, so nice, in Kumasi. The new consignment was found in another warehouse following FDA investigations.
The Food and Drugs Authority on October 5 seized some 3 containers of some unregistered mackerel with a brand name Asahi. Frantic search by the authority later uncovered 500 cartons out of alleged 2,000 cartons of another unregistered mackerel branded So Nice in Kumasi.
Last Friday, it got 10,000. Now, I was told the importer claimed 2,500 cartons went to Aflao, which officers have been at Aflao and they are not finding it. And well, there's this suspicion that it's been carted to Togo. We can't confirm that. But we are still monitoring. Whatever happens, we'll bring it out. But currently, that's the situation.
James Latte also touched on sanctions for the importers.
When you flout this, that is bringing unwholesome products or bringing products that are not registered, you can be sanctioned as an administrative fine, ranging between 25,000 Ghana cedis and 50,000 Ghana cedis per offense, or what you have done. That is one. Secondly, you know the police is already in this case. That one, FDA just goes in as witnesses. They are handling it. If it comes to prosecution, they are handling. We just go in as witnesses. So that I cannot comment on what the police is doing. But for FDA, for administrative fine, I know it's something that we have given a letter to the man. And I'll tell you that I don't know anybody we have fined who hasn't paid. So I can't even foresee him saying that he's not going to pay.
James Latte urged the public to be more cautious when buying imported food products.
Now, statistics available at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture indicates that 58% of poultry products consumed in Ghana are imported from the European Union and the United States. But how does one ensure the safety of the products in the wake of rotten poultry products on the markets? So those were visuals of some of the rotten poultry products being destroyed there. We'll bring you more details on that story as and when in our various bulletins. Let's move on and do some other stories. And the Railways Ministry is collaborating with some insurance companies to develop a policy on insurance. Now, the sector minister, Joe Gatti, who disclosed this, described the sector as a dead one requiring urgent reforms.
4 persons sustained injuries when an Accra-bound train from Tema on Monday, October 23, derailed at Tesano, a suburb of Accra. The accident has exposed the state of the country's railway sector. An issue of concern is whether trains in the country are insured. Minister of Railways Development Joe Gatti said the ministry is spearheading discussions to develop a policy on insurance for the sector.
First of all, insurance is important because of safety and so on. It's also in case of any mishap, it takes care of people. And of course, that is very important, and we are seeking to develop policy on that for the sector, because understand that the sector is particularly a dead sector. We are now building it up. We've had conversations with a number of insurance companies, and the Insurance Commission has also written to us. So we are in serious conversation with local insurance companies to make sure that they participate in the sector in a significant manner.
He noted that the ministry is very much concerned about the safety of passengers.
We are taking safety very, very seriously. Indeed, on Friday, we started discussions with the University of Mines and Technology, where we're looking at developing some form of training, etc. We are looking at them also doing a kind of safety audit of all our activities.
A committee has been set up to ascertain the cause of the accident and also come up with recommendations. But the sector minister is not sure when the Accra-Tema shuttle will start working.
We were working on the Accra to Nsawam line, but because the Accra to Tema section was not bad, we started working from Achimota going towards Nsawam. Now that this thing has occurred, after 10 days, we'll see whether we should open it or we should close it. But now we suspended the service.
Now, former caterers of the school feeding program have petitioned the Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry over arrears owed them by government. The women embarked on a protest walk to press home their demands.
The Arts Center in Accra was where the women converged.
Some concerned caterers of the school feeding program are here, and they are coming from all the 10 regions of Ghana, and they are going to the Gender Ministry to present a petition. But unfortunately, the police that promised them that they will escort them to the ministry has not turned up, and so the women are here and kind of confused.
They marched to the Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry without police protection. Their major concern was for government to pay them their arrears.
Already they have sacked us from the work. We are no more working. So now we are demanding our money. They should pay us so that we can get some job to do. We own people. We own bank. We own market women, store women. We own everybody. We own them. We are begging the government. It should give us our money.
When the caterers got to the ministry, for over 30 minutes, neither the minister nor officials of the ministry were available to receive the petition, leaving the women frustrated. Some of their leaders who had gone to the office of the minister had not returned after 40 minutes.
We have to see her, for her as a woman, to tell us something. Even if she's traveled outside Ghana, somebody should be there for her. So by all means, we have to see somebody. They have to tell us something. That's all.
Later, the caterers were told the minister was not available. The chief director received the petition instead. The women were promised payment this week for 16 days out of the 125 days.
Now, away from that, an Accra High Court has set October 31 to rule on the injunction application seeking to stop government and the Millennium Development Authority from going ahead with the processes to give the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, out on concession. This was after the legal arguments of lawyers for both applicants and defendants on why the court should put the process on hold or otherwise.
Some 1,001 workers of Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, led by the Public Utility Workers Union, PUU, sued the government challenging moves to hand over the operations of the company to a concessionaire without any redundancy package for them. Lead counsel for the workers, Martin Kwebu, moved the motion for the interlocutory injunction, insisting that, per document he has cited, almost 6,000 workers of ECG are assured of only 5 years' employment after the concessionaire takes over. He further stressed that after the concession deal pulls through, in the event of a redundancy, the competitive bargaining agreement the workers have with ECG will not be followed. Lawyer for ECG, Cephas Gali, argued that the application was needless, maintaining that it is only ECG which can declare a redundancy. The Deputy Attorney General, Godfred Dame, for his part, said the compact agreement has not been completed. Until that is done, there is no cause for action. Lawyer for the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, Victoria Bath, insisted the compact encompasses 6 projects, with the ECG concession being one aspect, adding that in the event where the workers succeed in placing an injunction on the process but lose the substantive case, the workers cannot compensate government or MIDA because they lack the financial muscle. In their suit, the workers are seeking a perpetual injunction to restrain the defendant, their assigns and privies from continuing with the compact agreement. They are also seeking an order restraining government from engaging any individual worker for redundancy or severance package but the union. The Labour Division of the Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Lorindo Owusu, set October 31 to give a ruling.
Now, the Registrar General's Department has cautioned prospective business registrants against dealing with middlemen. The department now operates an automated system which enables the registration of businesses in 2 days.
Last week, the Registrar General's Department automated its system to enable it to issue electronic certificates to businesses. The automated system is expected to assist business-oriented Ghanaians to commence operation without delay. The electronic certificates, according to the Registrar General's Department, can be accessed by foreign embassies. But middlemen, popularly referred to as Goro boys, continue to parade the corridors of the department.
A few days ago, the Registrar General's Department introduced an automated software for companies to go through before registering, not necessarily coming to the Registrar General's Department to register for their companies. And ever since the software was introduced, what we have gathered is that Goro boys insist of trying to find dubious means of trying to dupe others to help them go through the process. We want to find out from the Public Relations Officer of the Registrar General's Department what measures have been put in place. Would the Goro boys be able to dupe the system?
No, because you have to sit in the comfort of your home or your office to do the registration yourself. In that case, you don't need a Goro person to help you do that.
But are you aware that some of your members have been told that part of the system is assisting the Goro boys to dupe others who come to the registration?
Well, we want to inform the public that the online registration processes does not require the assistance of anybody. You are supposed to do it yourself. So try and get a tax identification number and be registered as a portal account user. And then wherever you find yourself in any part of the world, you can do that without anybody's assistance.
Officials of the department expect the business community to depend on the online services. Currently, it takes 2 days to register your business compared to the initial 2 weeks.
Right, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, says the fines handed to the 13 members of pro-New Patriotic Party vigilante group Delta Force could foster impunity in the country. According to the CDD, the verdict is also a setback to efforts to promote decency in Ghana's politics.
The Asokwa District Court in Kumasi last week fined the 13 Delta Force members 1,800 cedis each. They were facing trial on count of conspiracy to commit crimes and rioting after they were captured in a video manhandling the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, George J. The Center for Democratic Development, CDD, described the fines as a slap on the wrist and may go to encourage political hooligans to perpetrate crime in the country.
Even at that point, when they went to court, there was still an opportunity for the court to send a signal that this kind of conduct and this kind of behavior should not be allowed because it's a danger to our democracy. But that signal was not sent. So now we've said, well, it's okay. You know, if you're a party person and you can go and assault a national security person, and you just got away with the fine.
The head of programs at CDD, Dr. Kudra Santi, called on government to curb the menace of vigilante groups in the country immediately before they get out of hand.
We have to confront this and deal with this now. And it will take an incumbent to deal with it. Somebody else will come, they will be the incumbent. They can't wait for somebody to come and do the job for them. They have to draw the line and say that it cannot happen anymore under our regime.
CDD is hopeful stakeholders interested in improving and sustaining democratic governance in Ghana heed the call to action to find a lasting solution to the problem of political vigilantism.
For people to do that, storm a court and basically disrupt it, that was really the height of impunity. There were instances that the security agencies could have acted, and they didn't. So you get to the point where now the court is, well, we have to reduce the charge to rioting and so on. So we think that these kinds of institutional failures only serves to undermine our rule of law.
On to some politics, and the youth wing of the Ejiso branch of the NPP has described activities by a group calling itself Young Patriots as disrespectful to party structures and also a move to disunite party members in the municipality. They expect the party's leadership to call the Young Patriots to order.
Spokesperson for the youth wing of the NPP in Ejiso constituency, Nanao Sebonsu, says they will resist any attempt by any group to bring division in the party.
But the problem started with the emergence of an association called the Young Patriots. They only came up after the elections, and they appear to be disrespectful to the party's hierarchy within the constituency. We've picked an intelligence that this Young Patriots movement seems to be a grand scheme, is an agenda. And so anybody who appears to be a threat, they are resorting to all sorts of, tactics to eliminate.
According to him, restarting attacks on some party leaders in the Ejisu constituency by some groups within the NPP is to disunite members. The youth wing wants the intervention of national executives for calm to prevail because the constituency has always been in the news for bad reasons.
As youth wing of the party in the constituency, I believe you will agree that we're also the future of the party in the constituency. And so we owe history a responsibility to ensure that the party is not destroyed. So we resort to all legitimate means to seek the redress of this problem.
They pleaded with all party members to promote unity to facilitate good governance by the Nana Addo Dankwa-led administration.
More than 100 graduates besieged the office of the head of local government services to demand jobs. The graduates who wanted recruitment as procurement officers and allied services felt disappointed after not getting the jobs.
2 weeks ago, the office of the head of local government services advertised some job vacancies. The jobs advertised for recruitment included procurement officers, drivers, caterers, and other allied services. Though only 1,000 vacancies were available, over 5,000 responded to the advertisement, compelling the service to suspend the recruitment and officially petitioned the Youth Employment Agency YEA. The YEA then responded to the petition, which has culminated to the signing of an MOU for recruitment. In the Memorandum of Understanding, the local government service is demanding the recruitment of 10,000 graduates. But the Youth Employment Agency has agreed to offer 4,000 graduates to assist the local government services in its operations. Chief Executive Officer of the YEA, lawyer Justin Kodia, says the agreement is part of government agenda for job creation.
I believe that going forward and coming next year, the Youth Employment Agency is well positioned enough to be the pivotal key whereby most youth who have lost hope, most youth who believe that there is no opportunity there for them, they will see the day of light, and whereby they will be given equal opportunity to serve Mother Ghana.
The head of the local government services, Dr. Nana Tuata, assured to maintain 30% of the graduates which have exited over a 2-year period.
We dedicated to recruit 30% of the youth who have been in the service during this 2-year period under reference, because they would have acquired some level of experience in the system already.
And now for the weather forecast for the next few hours.
The weather report is brought to you by
And that's all for morning news here on TV3. And my name is Solis Rose Cortage. Will join me same time tomorrow. But Johnny and Amma return with more on New Day after this. Good morning.
Okay, welcome back and thank you very much for joining. Let's say a big happy birthday to you, Albert Annan of the Ministry of Works and Housing. We told you the Chinese burger there. Happy birthday to you. This is from your brother, ASP Wilfred Annan of the Ghana Prison Service. And if it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you.
Certainly.
Yes, it's a Wednesday and it's good to be born on such a day. I'm Kweku, so I'm excited. Yes, we have taken permission from Babina, so we'll be reviewing the papers now. Yeah.
And another good morning to Oscar Apima. He's an ardent viewer of TV3. He sends us a message saying he's watching us right now. Good morning to you.
Oscar
and
what?
all the Apima. A-P-E-E-M-A-H.
Apima, okay.
I hope I'm saying it right. But anyway, guys, it's time for...
Oscar Apima.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
sure.
prefer to say Apima. I hope I'm right on that. Anyway, let's start off with Ghanaian Times. It says, DVLA rolls out smart driver's licenses November 7th. Also, ECOWAS leaders pledge to create single currency by 2020. Then government presents Major Mahama Trust Fund bill to Parliament. Then finally, 3 robbers jailed 47 years.
I'm happy that the Major Mahama bill has been laid before
Right.
Parliament. Yesterday, the Minister for Defense, Dominic Neto, put it out there. And it lends credence to the fact that, well, at least when we say something, we do it. Because I'm wondering as of now, who is taking care of the children and the widow that, for no fault of theirs, had to fall in that unfortunate situation. So in between the lame duck period, when the proposal was done till this point, and for example, if Parliament isn't bureaucratic and the process doesn't stretch, we could get it now. But in between that period, who takes care of the family of Major Mahama? I'm just curious.
Certainly.
I don't know.
We're interested in knowing
yes,
that. But at least
no,
Mr. Honorable Netiwu also did mention that his wife, the wife of Major Mahama, the
Barbara
late,
Mahama,
yes, she's been given a job and they're in constant communication. So I hope on some lower scale, the government is still taking care of her, maybe on a, but this will formalize what they plan to do for her, I mean, for the many years to come when she's without a partner.
I'd be happy to tie that in with what the police is trying to do.
The insurance.
The insurance, 50,000 for each police officer. Well, I'm excited about it. I wish that we would stretch that to other men in uniform, the military, the fire service, the immigration, the prison service, so they can all at least go to work with a peace of mind and know that yes, somebody has their back, and so they can deliver. Because most of them, truth be told, I mean, most of them, they're very careful about what would happen if they get onto the job. I mean,
Johnny, rightly so. I would be worried, even in my line of duty where I know no one can kill me on the job, really. I'm still scared because you can meet a patient who will just throw a hand and I'm wondering, am I insured for that? Am I covered? So certainly I understand when they go out, families are worried. Recently we heard a case, I mean, in the US when one of the people died and Donald Trump had to speak, and unfortunately what he said to the wife, saying that he knew what he had signed up for, didn't go down well with her. Yes, you do know what you signed up for, but no one goes out on the battlefield thinking, I'm not coming home today. It certainly is something you don't want to put yourself out there for. You don't think about that. It's something that could happen, but you don't prepare. You're never prepared for that. So definitely when you know you're insured or your back will be covered when you're no more, that gives some credence to the job you do. And definitely gives you the power to go out there and give off your best.
Speaking of which, well, let's tie in insurance with the fact that none of our coaches on the rails are insured. And I'm not surprised. I'm not disappointed too. Which insurance company in its right senses would insure those walking garbages? Nobody will do that. I mean, they are wobbling, they are not fit. And the insurance companies, they look at all the liabilities that may come with it, the risk and etc. Because
this is a huge liability.
Yes, I mean, and who would want to insure them? So it is actually no news for me that they are not insured. I knew they would be insured. No insurance company in its right senses would do that. And you see, the guys who operate the train, they train drivers or conductors or whoever they are not insured. They are actually not insured, and they are people's family. I think that the issue of insurance in this country is not very well taken care of. Look at what has become of our national health insurance system. So you go to some hospitals and they're actually demanding for money. And we don't seem to.
Yeah, we don't talk about the
care.
insurance on a broader scale.
Yes, we don't.
You end up individualizing it. I mean, I take insurance for myself,
Yeah.
but when it comes to the companies, the corporate businesses, they don't really do it. I mean, they don't look out for their people. So it's something we
Speaking
have
of
to
which,
start talking
what happened
about.
to the 72 million cedis, the Smith saga? It's our money, you
It's
know, so
still
we're interested.
pending.
Yes, it's pending where?
They're still doing the investigation.
Is that the software?
Journey. Anyway, but ECOWAS, you know, we raised this issue about the single currency.
Oh, man.
And they're pledging to get it rolled out by 2020.
please,
Why are we pleasing?
Let's get serious about some of these things. How long ago was the eco promised? You remember that because of the eco, we had our passports changed from blue to green. You remember?
We did.
Okay. What has happened since then? That even if I want to travel from here to Togo, the gendarme alone on the road, go through some border and all of that. How much money you need to pay every step of the way. And you're talking about one currency. Really? Have we been able to deal with the phenomenon of fake currencies in our West African sub-region?
We certainly haven't.
We haven't been able to. So sometimes when our leaders scratch themselves or tickle themselves and they laugh, I get so disappointed sometimes.
But,
I mean, look, yes, we want one currency, but we are not complete in our processes. We are never ever complete in our processes. So you have a Nigerian student who wants to come to school here, in Ghana, and he is charged dollars because they consider him a foreign student. You have a Sierra Leonean student who comes here. You have a Togolese student, and they count them as foreign students, and they charge them dollars, huge amount of dollars. So even though they know that, well, the educational system may have some challenges, so they want to come here and take respite and make sure that they get the right thing. What is it? Where is it? And we have not finished talking about those things. We're talking about a single currency. A single currency that will be calculated for that student when he comes here to access education in dollars, or will it be in whichever?
So certainly, looking at that conversation, if maybe we're able to create a single currency, we'll take care of some of the issues you've raised, like the foreign student, the international student being charged in dollars, because then you can charge in that single currency, and across board, it will look similar. Then also, it will take care of the infiltration of fake currencies in everyone's system, because we're all using the same. Definitely, then everyone is targeting one course, you know. When we see the fake, we all identify that this is a fake because we all use a particular currency that we have printed out, we use, so maybe it will tackle some of them. Definitely, it's not amusing because every year they seem to change something about it. When 2013, it was the president of Ghana and Niger, then now we've added on 2 other presidents. I'm just looking at finality. We say 2020. Now that we've seen these presidents come on with a full force, we hope it works. Certainly, we'll be happy.
See, it's not about the suit and tie. As for the suit and tie, we all have some. We have some that we wear. The point is that we must make the things happen when we say them. People, I mean, look, I don't know the essence of ECOWAS. Look at what's happening in Togo. Look at the turmoil in Togo at this point. Lives are being lost and people's homes are being vandalized, property, whatever it is. And all ECOWAS could do was to send an envoy, 2 or 3 people to go and everybody's kept quiet. Forgetting that we, Ghanaians, are neighbors to Togo. Benin, neighbors to Togo. Burkina Faso, we are all neighbors.
Whatever happens in one country will transcend.
It will have a ripple effect, an autopause effect. So what are we doing about it? Rather, we're talking about money. When lives are being lost. If everybody dies, what will be the essence of the banknote? What will be the essence of the banknote? We have spoken about Togo endlessly, countless number of times. Who is calling foreign Asingbe to order? We saw what Yaya Jammeh did before he left for Adama Barrow to take over, even when Adama Barrow had won the election. And he had promised that he was going to step down. Then days later, he comes back to. So we have that fundamental problem, which is intrinsic, which we need to solve. We're not really cautious about some of these things, and we want to put up money. So who will be paying for the printing of the money?
The rest of you are
me, I have closed my eardrum.
Anyway, guys, but it's time for Daily Rant. We're talking about railway system. Definitely, we knew there were some challenges, but I guess it's been brought to light in the recent event where a train derailed from the railway or the rail lines. We're asking, what is happening to our rail system? What are the challenges? How can we solve this as we move on?
Karma is happening. Yeah, karma is happening to you. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Enjoy George Queenie and the folks out there.
cheapest means of transport, and you wouldn't be far from right. The railway system. Staggering information we've gathered revealed that none of Ghana's commercial trains are insured. Wow, I'm petrified already. Well, you and I know what that means to the lives of the numerous passengers. So, what is the way forward in boosting the sector? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
To me, it's very, very poor. Because when I 3 days, yeah, me say keteke bimpo out of form of Ghana. I will test on a coming say keteke poye more Ghana. Me nimpo da. Because say one nam offense Shangri-La, Elko offense plant pool or na. Because me who send a man for the kiosk ACC even keteke kwan so. And then and take me say keteke po age ma. Because of sa keteke center na o jawlu titu no omo de hard na market enti se keteke ye juma de ono mo anu kwa so mo de market enti me hu se keteke po no enti se 3 days mi se keteke bi e juma Ghana
me nim se san keteke po wa high ti mi fa efefa road me tim konya accident because me hwe sakomo no hot sa rain race na da ho ne ade na me nim se train fa so enti aban bakọ enti omo nim se Ghana for train by train na aka na to aso ne ho na efa omunim se ho na efa na se yade a oman mumba to aba etumi tene momfo ade na monhwe na monya kwan ne fema train montimi nya dan emfa so
won se bibia iskase mu ana
na yesikase aban oba onsidan ya oda ache okopension obetren mu ansa wafi so aban ben no bo onsidan ya ansa ye unifisu a wakwa akotrim na ada na de nam so na nti ye to aba ma wo no wo ba wo nhwe nya no ansa na da bia Ghana nipa
all the subo ne ma menfa ma na adon kwa ama bebre okay
aban aba mesi aban aba aban kọ aban benti ye omu hu ana na aban bia ba ohwehwe ba bia obeda ansa ye ya to agensi no no kwa wenya ba bia kwa na de nti ye to aba e de ma aban fo no omu ba no mo abeyi omu ani Ghana de ye hwehwe ansa nipa 10 ewu 20 ewu na president ne vice to us no mu ko chechi nya sa na ye hwehwe bia na se we bia kwati to ye hwehwe bia train ways wa train ye siniti ase e de na kire se rain ways a train fa so keteke fa so e de na kire se Ghana man pa da hoi na se udu train station kra na ye minjin this say train po nipa fo
I think so. In Ghana, the Enya accident and the best so far because in Sawam didn't quite the Enya car.
Because me ebi wa me twom sekra metina buy a train na twom ko nti Ghana fo ye te Ghana nti mpanimfo mo kwa brocha ya mo hu train ayo mo kwa brocha mo hu train amudi we sisi wa mo mba nsi na mo mba ndo se mo bia amfo biom ya mo fema da bia twom okrom wankasa mo ye mpanimfo na se mo train ya nyema neto.
What I think about the railway is very, very poor in this country because it's not well constructed, especially the one at CMB. We always hear people dying at the railway station each and every day, so it's very poor. So that's what I can say about the railway.
Okay, I remember I said we call London. I used one of them trains to Charlie. I get fine. Oh, per se, I do baby in time a train, and I say a cheap. Ghana Accra is the cheapest because Ofe Fins are Accra 2 cities. Into only say, say but what do you think? Say bit Miami, like you want about progress, baby.
Me to me, dear, or say, from plant pool and each place that they never you renovate your honia. So uti na my kra say yama obi enyamayo or say yakra neba. Na kofa brofo no be hwe enyamaye because I
don't trust still local people this somewhere.
One better trust no road mpo na simple etutu na train that year. So I say road mpo na simple etutu na train that year. Intimi to me there yen me to me yen renovate no and na some man renovate no so mo yes some person mo operate no cause mo operate na it means they are trying to kill many souls. So I say
but him the cheapest in Ghana.
No, he's the cheapest to kill us. What say cheapest? It's cheapest to kill us. So I said, I did be a for Africa be a wo and then Africa we I did for Keteke Oboni Okwa we South Africa where one person 1 seat but Ghana has people didn't niti edit to Kurumo per se yeah the Yohuno I for be I am sit I am one so I said no indicate how to take train. So I said but say educate how to take trainer when the accident we embark. So as it.
When you say the cheapest,
cheap. Auntie and Crawford, but train pay to me the bunch, broad, dear the brown man for. Since I won't near didn't the account with the back. Not say to me, I did say, man, no quite so I say, I don't know, man, so I did done who are now. Cheapness, I didn't know when you say, ya baffle, a benefit of Talahuni idea, none in pay who were train home. And yes, your train station said, so be some
Oko, where Oko landing. What was a mistake, sir? Oko landing, no, train, Banchi.
And for but say no, your categories, you are the funny part, and the FA produce.
No, Ghana, the funny part, I don't Banchi. Was it?
Dear funny pan and one a fakako, and I never money, a fact grant for Bibia. None so who can say drawing brain us or more foot train Akufia or mutiti from sitting him. Sitting in Moko train station and sitting him. It was such mook trace near Bananko for one chain. No, I'm to touch a talent change. Until Uncle said a Benagana for a Huacamo. Ye, who can ye woo so still, dear Yana.
Accident see and Tessano de say, you go for bear 5 minutes or more prior. But one thing about me saying, Sir trains Tiniano, or money insurance. In Tiafan San Comuia, there's no insurance.
We initiate the Mount Ghana. Or be initiate the Mount because train and Casaminumsa are buying cry say. I buy for no but no moon kind per se train work Ghana. Me sure so munim say train work Ghana. Se see I buy be any who say train work Ghana se see into no so funa wa or no ni asem. And this away your friend atomic Janet she no na vice president se be she out. Obi an inti I be at the mount. Into wa bakwa for say train bi na bakwa kwati ahwe wu no. Wa wu na wawu. Ene ye wabusu afoka ye hu so na to nsom na pro na pro because train no nya nti ehu nya se onipa da se ni wo be di sa cheap money na chi na wakwa akofo no wakwa akwu
no afa bi da
mefo me Ghana train na nti me hu bi da kra se me ko train station me hu bi nti me num
ale se onya experience ne kaka
wo ya me num dia menya enti say prayer mo pray e kan wo na ya akoda dem ho na beto aduane because ade no insurance ni ho enti insurance ni ho na wodi ne fu ati akwakofu ya wo kobu na mi prayer wo prayer kan wo ti so e ana wani so na etutu yanka ya ndai ho na beto aduane ama wo enti wo say yanka so ye boye ho bai because yeni mpanin bi oboa Ghana ye ne ye boa ye ho enti wo say wo so boa wo ho.
This time I'm not pleading on our leaders. I'm telling them by force. It's compulsory, it's mandatory. They should do something about the railway, about the train.
But do you use railway? Do you use the train?
I don't use it because it's very bad. So they should develop our railway and our train.
The first time meeting na ketekemu na meton rubber bag. Oh, I find say Kantamanto. That time Kantamanto meton rubber bag. Me say train baba ta kwi. Yeah, when you home so. Train that no po.
Ni pay team.
Ni pay team na yesu. Say ba say ben po obi boat me ko gina ha ne tamale asa na trainer there abegina break ni po minim say nipa ne de ne nana e de chopete krak menti ase
so train titi wo na train na nkasa sia na ne ti yatumi akwa kodu ha ne ayi kumas na titi asa na ti na abebo anim say gew de na ekoso wa Ghana na train mu ba mo te ho nsem na esisi station na lodu nipa na say ya yeto abama mu no kra no mu yen Ghana penufo no muyen no kwade meka omumuyen ye kwagina wiem to aba keke omo ba omo check yen na omo a check ye bibia hwe
me ekeme e bia wato ma me no aba power me hwe nyoma ehu hia me what I say e bia me hwe school first and some be hwe bia agriculture need dey keka ho train ni bit my later nti e bia ebe later e na bia
ebe later won ebe later no next time na ho anu nkodi na nipa ba 50 da bia nipa 50 wu nipa 50 wu a ho am na beto aba ma obiom
madam fu bi say sa railway sector no nkofo no mo no omo nyi mpanyifo nti en club no mo fa young ones ni
omo nyina wo ma miri nyina ahyehye na egu omo tirim sa nkofo omo memiri ni ho obia memiri omo gig ni nyina asai omo gig asai nti sesi anu omo no de omo kofi omo de betwa bi ene ne omo de bedidu na na sesi omo de nti mrant for so wo mbetimi aye bibi nti omo nkrofo akọ school omo nya adwumanya nti obenyi anu mapa bibi kakra ma no na mkola ne so atimi aye dan apa ba ye bi
trainway for na omo workers no form 4 for grade for omo ho na grade kito o ena hunim omo develop adwuma no in sense we the youth ebe ya akondo akwakoye because then who catch bisa we ko fa ge so can say I'm working at the trainway obejawo When you say we are kokra, just like when I say we are bright about shocks and so I say, hey, woo! It's no,
I can't be say experience is the best teacher. But I'm more experienced. I'm more fan backer.
And we do this. I say experience is the best teacher. We're experienced to kill the souls.
Today's discussion has been on the railway sector. How well can we improve on the sector? The current state, the public fund is so appalling, and that they want government to ensure all measures are put in place to see a vibrant railway sector. Let's know what you think about this. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, as News on TV3, and on Twitter, as News TV3. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back and thank you very much. Let's get into the news review segment, and we start off with the Daily Guide. Says NDC hard 200 cars for journalists. ECOWAS single currency in 2020. Too much sex caused Banku's defeat. Who's saying that? Major Maxwell Mahama trust bill in Parliament. IFS tax government on revenue. And smart driver's license by November 7. DVLA rolls out, says the Ghanaian Times. ECOWAS leaders pledge to create single currency by 2020. And government presents Major Mahama bill trust fund in Parliament. The Daily Graphic this morning says prioritize revenue generation in 2018 budget. That's the IFS advising government. The minister directs removal of problematic runabouts in Kumasi. IMF bemoans government's declining revenue, and Chinese to take Ghana visas in Beijing. The Daily Heritage this morning reports that IFS professes revenue generation strategies to government. Queenster Sawyer sensitizes women on breast cancer. The Daily Statesman says no white elephants under One District, One Factory project. And finally, perhaps, the front page of the Finder newspaper. It says danger imminent. Church under construction shares wall with LPG gas station. Productivity and profitability key to cocoa sector, cocoa board, and demolition. TDC dragged to court for 5 million Ghana cedis, and Ye sent healthcare delivery to rural folks. Let's get on to now. My guest this morning is Rudolph Amenya Etigo. Good morning, sirs. How are you doing, boss?
Great, and you?
Nice, great. So we'll start off, and Mr. Sampai will join us on behalf of the New Patriotic Party. Yes, he's the MP for Chianapaga, but Mr. Sampine is the secretary, the MPP secretary for the Ashanti region. He will join us shortly and we'll continue the conversation. But we're told, Chief, that the DVL intends to roll out a digital driver's licensing system by November. Is that good news?
Well, before that, let me just say hi to my your viewers and especially the people of Chianapaga. Yes, it's a fact that we have to make progress. So going digital is good news. But what will worry the average consumer of DVLA services will be, will this really make a difference in terms of the obstacles and difficulties we face over the years? Right. The so-called Goro boys, will it eliminate them? Because we know, even if we don't state it, that these Goro boys are linked to personnel inside the DVLA itself. So how will this solve some of these problems? But on average, I think that going digital, of course, is progress.
So for you, that's okay. But one would raise a question then about, for example, the equipment that they would need to check. You know that the roadworthy certificates that were issued had some biometrics that you needed, some equipment to check. Reports are that we don't have those equipments out there on the street. So you find the police and they still check with their eyes as to whether they are fake or not. They don't know. Do you think that we are ready for such a move at this time?
Certainly, if we are going to go digital, we have to be holistic. And the DVL cannot work without the enforcement agency, which is the police. So if the police is ill-equipped, it means that we will have to get them ready if we have to go digital. If we are not ready to equip the police appropriately, then we are probably.
Do you see a commitment to equip the police in that regard?
We haven't seen a budget line that says that so much has been put aside to be able to equip the police to be able to cope with such a migration. So we don't have evidence to say that there's commitment to equip the police.
I'm curious. I mean, you're a parliamentarian on behalf of the people of Chanapaga. In Parliament, do these things come up? And if it has indeed come up, what has been the general reaction? Because the people are concerned about some of these things as well.
Yeah, these things do come up, and the parliamentarians are certainly concerned. They want a situation where the road is used in a manner that makes everybody comfortable.
Okay.
But then the obstacles are there, and what we would like to see is a situation where a concrete proposition comes for a budget line. Then we can discuss, knowing that the outcome of that discussion will be actually translated into a program that will benefit all of us. But what we are seeing is people actually putting forward their own feelings and ideas about what should happen. But we are not seeing the commitment in terms of the budget line.
So you're saying on this platform that the budgetary allocations, the financial implications that we have to bear as a country, Parliament has no knowledge about it?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this: if there is a budget, the budget should clearly state that DVLA so much money is allocated.
And in this instance, the budget that was read in March,
I didn't see any such commitment. So I'm saying that if they are really serious, we ought to see that in the next budget, that there's a clear commitment and money is being allocated to ensure that this is done.
Okay. Let's hear what you think about that, and we're still expecting Mr. Sampine, who is the regional secretary of the MPP in the Ashanti region, to join us for the conversation. 0508235228 is the WhatsApp line. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. Join us and share your thoughts and comments. So we're told that the ECOWAS single currency should be ready in 2020, and leaders of the ECOWAS met yesterday. The issue of the common currency is high on the agenda. This is not the first time this matter has come up. Are you surprised that it's coming up again around this time?
No, I'm not surprised.
Are you disappointed that it's been mentioned over and over again?
Yes, in the sense that this should have happened several years ago. The desire for West Africa, to have a single currency is part of the general desire of Africa to integrate. But more often, the rhetoric doesn't meet the actions. So it's one of the things that we read and we're excited, but we have our doubts. We need some reassurance that this time around we are really going to see it happen in 2020. The steps towards that will have to be, the roadmap must be very clear.
I find it quite amusing, if you will, because yes, we've had to alter our passports to have that green background. But then if you travel from Accra to say through Togo to Nigeria, the roadblocks and the treatment as if you were not part of the sub-region is quite worrying. Have you had to experience any of that?
Oh yes, I've experienced it before, traveling from Lagos by car to Accra. What I can say is simply that we really don't have an ECOWAS citizen in that sense.
We don't have it?
We don't have, because if we have an ECOWAS citizen, then there should not be problems traveling within the ECOWAS community. So the fact that we still have problems tells you that the reality is that we don't have an ECOWAS citizen. So we need to actually work to actualize that. It's not about holding a passport. It's about what the passport can do for you as a traveler, as a citizen. And that's what we are not seeing.
But if so then if we don't have an ECOWAS citizen, would an ECOWAS currency be any needful? Mustn't we get the citizens ready before we put out the currency?
I think these are measures towards creating that citizenship.
Okay.
So having a common currency integrates the economy. And it's one important move towards us finally integrating also politically.
Okay.
So we can say it's a good idea to have a common currency because it sends us further.
Is 2020 a realistic timeline?
From the fact that we seem not to be ready to surrender a bit of our sovereignty, there are still sovereignty theft wars that we are fighting. I think 2020 may, for me, be a bit close. I think we need to solve that theft problems on citizenship and sovereignty before we can make such a bold commitment. I think that we probably need more than 4 years to.
More than 4 years. Anyway, and you can join us. Let's get into the groove now. Mr. Sampine has joined us. He is the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NPP. Chief, welcome.
Thank you.
I like your shirt. It looks like something the president wore a few weeks ago. How are you doing, sir?
That's promoting made in Ghana products. I like your smoke too.
Yeah.
At least we are showcasing the spirit of the Ghanaian.
He is noted for wearing a lot of smoke. A lot of smoke.
Really?
And you are also noted for wearing a lot of prints.
So we should be giving some award.
Yeah.
By TV3.
Next week we'll find you.
Okay.
We'll find you. Okay, so let me quickly pick your thoughts about this. The DVLA hints of a digital driver's licensing regime, and they intend to go fully digital by 7th November. Timelines, realistic? What do you think about it?
Thank you very much, and let me say a very good morning to you and my friend and to your cherished viewers and those who are also listening. I mean, some are not watching, but they are listening to us. Right. And I pray to the good Lord for giving us the day too. The world is moving in a certain direction. And I think technology is taking over almost every facet of our lives. And therefore, if we have systems that technology can adapt to, they have value. I think that's something good. Okay. Over the years, we had issues with people faking driver's licenses, other documents for which are national documents too, even though they may belong to you, but are national documents. And therefore, if they are system that will curtail some of these infractions, I believe it's a good thing. But I don't know how they've gone through with the step that they've taken and all that. I believe it's important to educate the people enough. Let them understand what you intend doing. Let them know the benefits of it all. And not most about it, you know, Ghana, we're going to come in with the cost analysis and all that, because definitely the drivers are going to pay, or we are going to pay something before we acquire those licenses. And therefore, I believe, yes, we should be very down to earth, educating them, letting them know what is important about these, the cost and all that. And if this is done, I believe, yeah, we have
Is it your opinion that the DVLA has the capacity to do this? Because, yes, we've been told of the roadworthy certificates which are supposed to be digitized. And to today, if you go onto the streets, the police use their eyes to check it. The equipment are not there for the police to use to verify whether you have a fake or you have a credible one. And we know the Goro boys are in the system.
You bring in the police, and it takes me to this Pillar 2 dummy road. There's a roadblock, a barrier there, and there's this particular police officer who's there, and on that date of the night checks driver's licenses and huge traffic. I mean, people are close from where they want to get home, and that's when he decides to check. I believe the IGP should take a look at that place. But you see, this issue about the number plates and all that came up, and people felt the cost, if you remember, just before that wahala with the towing levy and all that. So I believe that was what brought about the halting of that process and going through with the stakeholders and all that. But I know that, yes, they have the capacity. Now, having the capacity, it's not about the institution building the what they call the cars themselves. They hire experts to do that for them. And if you remember, some 3 years ago, they had some infrastructure to that effect. And therefore, if they want to go on that tangent, I believe, yes, they can do it. what is important is that they should give it to a qualified vendor to produce these cards and all that.
In fact, Honorable Rudolph raises a question about having the financial implications properly spelled out, so we know how much we're going to spend, when we're going to spend it, especially captured in the budget. As of now, the last budget that was read didn't have anything of the sort about this DVLA thing.
No, but
so that by November 7, when we
I believe
the
road ministry, the transport ministry has a budget.
Okay.
And as it's an agency of that ministry, definitely there will be a budget for them. So we need not spell it out in the budget that yes, we are giving this much to DVLA, but the budget of the transport, the road transport ministry, that takes charge of that agency.
But the budget was spelled out. I mean, the allocation that was given to the ministry was properly spelled out what it was going to be used for.
But it was indicated that they will give this much to DVLA.
No, not at all.
Well, then we need to ask, because some, especially myself, I'm not privy to that particular arrangement. So if there's a need to spell it out, well, fine. That's good accountability and transparency.
Okay, let's move on now. And we're told by the Daily Graphic, page 16, that the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining has recommended that the government adopt a policy that will enjoin Chinese arriving in Ghana from China to secure their visas at the Ghana embassy in Beijing instead of being issued with visas on arrival in Ghana. This statement was made in the Eastern region. So our fight against Galamsey has gotten to this pedestal where we say, no, get your visas before you get in here. Will it solve anything, Honorable?
Well, I think it indicates for me, first and foremost, the fact that our immigration officers in Accra maybe are thought as not performing their duties to the optimum. So people who ought not to get in may be getting. So they are thinking that it will be more difficult if they have to do that at our embassy in China before they even move. But the ultimate question is, do we need a Chinese partnership in the development of our mining industry? If we need Chinese partnership, let's rather enforce the rules, the law on mining. So if you are coming here as a Chinese, there should be clear capacity, and you should be coming with arrangements that comply with our local law. And therefore, the problem of visa shouldn't arise if your coming is going to be something that will inure to the benefit of this economy. But if we don't get all these things straightened up, and people are coming here based on just speculative ideas about what they're coming to do, they'll find ways and means of coming.
Is this a slap in the face of diplomacy?
Well, I won't call it a slap, but I would think that we should be wary of the fact that if we decide to take measures, there can also be reciprocal measures. So we should handle it with a bit of diplomatic care, because China is certainly a very important global player when it comes to the economy, and they have muscle. So if you are taking measures, you should be sure that they are measures that will be understood and will not necessarily generate some countermeasures that may not be pleasant to us.
Mr. Sampai, so this is what the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs is saying, Mr. Kofi Jamesi. He says that, well, no visas for you here on arrival, even though that provision was made because of countries where, for example, we don't have a Chinese consulate here, so that they would benefit. But it looks as if they're taking us for a ride. So he says, no, let me put my foot on the ground.
You see, we may be doing business with countries, but that doesn't mean those countries that we are doing business with should treat us with contempt. And the policies that we put in place, they should treat that with contempt that would be to the detriment of Ghana. When you go into China now, initially Ghanaians were not picking visas before they enter China. Businessmen, they go with thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to China to buy goods, do business there, but they take visas from Ghana before they go there. And it's a difficult thing even acquiring a Chinese visa. If we believe, yes, and it's a fact that some of them, when they get in, abuse these privileges that we give to them. If you remember, some time past, a lot of them were rounded up for not even having visas. Some came with visas and they ended up doing galamsey, other businesses in the country. So as a nation, we should take the right steps to make sure that those who enter, though we are not going to treat them as enemies, they should also conform to the laws of the land. And therefore, if this is what they think can stop in some way, or even ameliorate the effect of what these people are doing, I believe it's in good direction, because we do business with the Americans, we do business with the British.
Okay.
When we go in there, we take visas. At times, big businessmen get bounced when they get to these counters to pick their visas. So, to check the activities, because it's been very wide. They go to the Ashanti region, the AC region, the Western region. Recently, if you remember, we've been discussed there when a Chinese allegedly shot a Ghanaian in the Wasa areas. What is his status here? Some commit crimes and offenses and they are unable to be arrested.
The law should deal with them.
So therefore, if the law is going to deal with them, one of the measures that the law should monitor wherever enters. So if I pick a visa before I enter, you are queued into our database that yes, him Chong Hin or whoever is entering the country.
But is it not the same? Is it not the same? I mean, if you get visa on arrival or visa from home, immigration services should be able to deal with these issues.
They should be able to do that. We have the past instances where you know it. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You don't need to tell me that. People go to the fence.
Even if they have to take the visas before they come, if our officers there, our consular officers there, are not up and doing, they will still come. I'm
not even going to talk. I was going to talk about some of the immigration officers at our ports of entry. Yes, it is true. They come here. It's similar to picking a visa in Ghana, but when they come here too, at times we have instances, we have examples, we hear news about some officials aiding them to when even they give them 30 days and they overstay, they just will look the other way. And so yes, it is true that if they pick the visas from their home countries, it may also pose some of these difficulties. But it's also as an admonition up to our immigration officers to make sure that they also work according to the rule.
My difficulty, Mr. Sampine, is that, well, if I pick a visa and it says I have 6 months or 3 months, and I come here and the official here allows me to overstay, what would have been the purpose of this directive from the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs? It would have been a total fiasco then.
No, when you overstay, the law should work. I mean, people go to the US, to Europe and the rest, and they overstay their visas, and when they are caught, they are expatriated. They are brought back.
Do we do that here?
We've done it a little. I believe that we should be tougher on this. Don't let us be we want investors, therefore we should relax our laws to that extent.
It's also about capacity.
Right.
You see, we need to spend more on our immigration and security services.
Internal security.
To improve equipment, improve technology, and improve knowledge. If all these things are not done, holistically, you can have the best laws. The policeman probably doesn't even have the equipment and the know-how to detect that somebody ought to have been brought to book or even deported. He's probably taking some manual book and checking some things. When at this date and age, there should be a more advanced technological equipment to support. So we need to invest more in our security.
Okay, interesting. Let's wrap up on this one. So the one district, one factory policy, Mr. Jamesi says they would want to start and focus on such mining areas. I've always asked a big question. Between the lame duck period, when we said stop galamsey, till when the one district, one factory actually will start, in between that, what do we expect the people to do, and how do we expect them to do what they do? Because there's logging as we speak, logging in many places and in most of the mining areas, because they can't go and mine because we sent the Operation Vanguard there. They are now logging, and that's a big concern. When is the one district, one factory coming up, Mr. Sampine?
Oh, the one district, one factory, I believe you remember in August, a day before our conference in Cape Coast, was launching the Kunfi, and according to investigations and the statement from the department, work is ongoing with those. There are other companies that are also in consultation with the Ministry of Trade and with one factory set up working on some others. And I believe that, yes, they are also going to come on board. But as we speak now, everything's on course. And that.
So beyond the launch, what else? I mean,
it's not a purely government-owned initiative.
But it's supervised by government.
Of course, yes, and even some funding is also secured by government to help. But it's a PPP, a private-public sector participation. So that's what. So we have, when you go there, you have, as I speak with you, we have more than 130 companies that have enrolled and want to be. So they are checking their backgrounds, looking at feasibility. The most important is that they are looking at sustainability. That if we have the factories there and they are working, we're not going to have a 5-year, 3-year, 10-year period where they also go defunct like some of the state-owned enterprises have been. And therefore, if they are sustained, that's what we're going to do. But back to your question of what are we doing there? Yeah, I believe that, yes, if you are taking people where they should be given some alternative livelihood.
Right.
Yes, and which the government is working on. I remember
we were told that the One District One factory will serve as that.
No, it's an example that they gave, but it's basically not that everywhere is going to have a factory. If you go to the Takwa areas, for instance,
you have your bites.
If you go to the Takwa areas, for instance, and you have a factory there, yes, it's not everybody who's going to get jobs at the factory, but there should be other livelihoods programs for them to engage in. You see, this is an interesting subject to me. I told you the other time that I did some work on sustainable development, and therefore it's something that I want to see. Now, you see, I remember going to Takwa to do some interviews, Takwa and Suayem, Prista areas, and I asked the guys about why not get some alternative livelihood instead of doing galamsey that is destroying the environment. Now they asked, so I told them, yeah, there's this hybrid purple that is good for exports and brings in lots of cash. You know the answer some of the guys gave me? Said the Chinese who are here doing the galamsey, did they know that planting purple there was going to give them money, and they decided to come here to buy? So you see the psyche of the people too. So yes, you have the will to make sure that, yes, we are going to get them this, do that. But the psyche of the people is also important, and this is a matter that we cannot just sit here and discuss it alone, but we need the efforts.
But your voice goes very far. You're a big man in your party, and your party is in government.
No, but
you're a big man in your party.
You're a big man in the media. He's a big man in parliament.
But your party is in parliament. You're a big man.
But they make sure the laws are working.
But you are
is it the fourth or the fifth estate?
It's the fourth estate of the world.
Yes. So once I don't have an estate too.
Yes, but you're a big man in government. You're closer to the reins of power. What commitment or who will you speak to anybody and say that, yes, the people on the grounds, they have stopped the galamsey, but they are calling for this speedy action for One District One factory?
I think especially the small scale miners make a representation to the minister, and which I know they are working on.
Do we have timelines?
Well, I cannot speak on that because I'm not privy to the comprehensive discussion so far on this matter. But what I know is that they are working on something that will be. You cannot simply take the food out of the mouth of people and make them go hungry.
Honorable Rudolph, you wanted to have a bite quickly, and then we'll
yes. I think on the using the
One District
One factory as the alternative to provide a livelihood to people in galamsey areas. I think we have to take a more serious approach. You see, the fact is that one district, one factory still remains, for me, a pipe dream.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say it remains a pipe dream? This is a program that is depending on private sector response. And we will often say that private sector is the engine of growth. But the truth is that the private sector in an economy like ours, which is a dependent economy. If I will call it a surrogate economy because it's actually depending on a foreign economic muscle. We're expecting that the private sector will respond. The private sector is also looking at the government rather to provide the enabling environment, and it's having incapacities in providing what is necessary for it to also respond. So at the end of the day, we will just be discussing theory. So you can see that we are now about 10 months or 9 months into the life of this government. I'm sure very people will soon be asking for a list of the factories that are emerging as a result of this policy.
Has any been earmarked in your constituency, Chanapaga?
Not that I know of, because there's a share note thing that was started some time ago. It's the only thing that I can think about and I've heard. But
are there options that the government can explore that you could advise the government on?
We have a lot of vegetable cultivation there, which a lot can be done, either by way of processing. A lot can also be done by way of even vegetable oil, which we have a production going on in the Tono Valley, soybean and what have you. But what I'm saying is that we haven't zeroed. We are expecting that one Mr. Kwesi, a businessman, will emerge in Chanapaga with a proposal to put up something, and government then support. And I'm saying that if we don't have a concrete idea of what government itself intends to do, and we are just thinking that there will be a response from the private sector, we may be in for a long dream.
It's not my friends in opposition, they are wish that yes, this policy fails and therefore they will have some campaign.
Is that your wish?
Of course,
that the policy fails. That the one district, one factory policy fails. That's what.
Yeah, that's why. That's what they do. They begin ridiculing it. When we went to Kusi, the commentary from the NPC, and all of them suggested that you do it and let's see. Now you tell us that it's a dream because it is private.
No, we want to succeed. Ghanaians to enjoy
all over the world now. No government is going to direct manufacturing.
Yes.
No government. They are partnering the private sector to make sure it works. And even as part of the policies of Ghana for the past 2 decades is the need to make sure that there's government partners, the private sector, to create jobs. And that's what we are doing. And go there. I can tell you, even yesterday, some people were with me discussing how they can develop. They are all into quarrying, looking at how they can expand it, develop it into a factory for the Kwabre enclave. Just yesterday, and I asked them, I gave them the directions to the place and their proposal that they should take it there. These are people who came wholeheartedly.
You don't know from anywhere.
Pardon me?
People you don't know from anywhere.
No, I know one or two guys, but I've done this guy. I did not ask them, but they are into that industry. They came with that and say, yeah, this is the proposal. So I directed them to that office and that they should go sit down with the experts there. They will look. I'm not an expert in.
So but this is an example of people responding to the call.
Somebody, he directed the person. You see, I'm saying that we are still talking drawings. So when going to entering the last quarter of the year.
No, but we never gave timelines for.
Yeah,
we are going to finish them.
Timelines
we never gave timelines. We don't tell them. We don't tell them that within 1 year we're going to close 250 or 300 factories. We never said so.
There should be timelines. You understand?
We never said so.
And that's how we can check you and see whether you are making progress.
But over time, the president has consistently clarified that. Well, this is it. We may not necessarily have a factory in every one of our 260 districts. And they have.
And there may be not more than one factory.
There is not one district factory.
It's not. So there's no need saying.
No, but you can. If you give a name, especially with even this damning issues, you think every part of the 3 northern regions, every village should need. Then you go to some place, the geography there will tell you cannot be site.
So there's a huge
gap there. So when you give it a name,
so it's propaganda, right?
Yeah, it's propaganda. You see, you know what dam one village is not what you really want to do.
Okay,
but it's catchy. Dream
the propaganda dream, and when the reality hits you,
so propaganda
that's where
should be
you know
managed.
that yes.
Let's talk in such a way that it brings about healthy debate and development. But if it's just used, for the sake of catching votes.
Let's have a conversation on something that borders on the health of children, school feeding program. So we want to have a healthy debate now. 4 million Ghana cedis arrears, and the women are out there, they are demonstrating. They are not happy about it, and they say, look, you have cancelled their contracts. You are not paying them their arrears, and it's worrying to them. Honorable Sampang, what is happening in the area of school feeding program?
Yeah, yesterday I listened to the PRO for the program. I also listened to the national coordinator of the program, and they spoke about efforts and the amounts that they've even disbursed so far to those who have theirs in arrears.
Okay.
If you remember, this school feeding program has not been something that has come so easy for them in this execution, especially in the past 4 years. I remember some schools, some caterers in the Branga Hafu, Ashanti region, Eastern region, were up in arms with the former government, Mr. Mohammed's government, over non-payment of their monies. So it's a matter with them that yes, looking at when and how they disperse these monies is a little bit of a problem. But the most important thing that they need to, apart from them playing politics and making it look as if the world is coming to an end, is that the matter is that efforts have been made. They simply, some of them simply don't want to be very honest with the truth, and they make it look that they've not been paid a dime. But the ministry has paid monies totaling about 250 million so far to these caterers. So they have arrears, yes. So therefore, if the ministry says, yes, you have arrears and we're going to pay, give them this time, we have timelines for you, next week we're going to release about 10 days of that, the next time we do this. Yeah, that is how we go, because it's not been a matter that in the past they were paid the whole of the terms fee to them to go and prepare the food. Somewhere, even those times, these same caterers who are now in arms were complaining without even telling the world that they owe them arrears in the past administration. And it's so.
You think they are being unfair to the government?
I can describe it so, especially and being also a little bit of dishonesty there, because you've been paid certain amounts. If not gotten, you don't create the impression to the world that a dime has not been paid to you. That's the beef that I have with them.
Honorable, school feeding program, it always gets to hit a snag when it comes to payment. The children will enjoy their meals, then when it comes to payment, sometimes we'll have to hold on, and the children won't get the food, and then before we pay arrears and all those issues. Can we ever get beyond it?
Yeah, I think the general attitude should be good planning. I think we probably don't plan well as to how to feed our children. If we plan well and the budget is prepared, monies are allocated, and they are not used for other purposes, we should be able to solve this problem. But having said that, I think that if people had contracts to cook for school children, and the contracts are abrogated, before you abrogate those contracts, you should know the things that will fall out of that abrogation. So if you are abrogating, you should also be preparing to fulfill their side of the bargain. Your responsibility is to show that if you are leaving them off, you leave them off of all that they deserve. But if you abrogate and you don't even have an idea how and when you are going to pay them what is due them, that is rather unfair. And my brother was talking about that in previous times they didn't hear them complaining, as if they are now just complaining because a different government is in power.
That's the song they are singing.
I think that is
all those who speak for them, that's the song they sing.
Unfortunate statement.
And they even go
these
about
poor caterers who are suffering. Their children have to be in school.
Let me tell you one thing.
They have to pay their medical bills.
And it's a program that's yearly, annually renewable. That contract that they give to them is renewable annually.
But don't they have a legitimate or a consent to ask for their money?
They have.
Yeah.
I'm not begrudging
and
that. They have. But I'm also looking at it that they need to be a little honest with the truth. That yes, don't let them create the impression that not a dime has been paid to them. That's the cry. That I saw on your screens yesterday and 3 days ago, wanted to portray to the world that since they abrogated the contracts, not a dime been paid to them.
And you say that's not correct?
Yes, they need to be very honest. Yes, they're giving a sum, but they still owe a sum. Tell the world, we all support that. So pay them, yes, because they offered the services, and therefore they should be paid. But you don't create the impression that nothing been paid to you.
What he said earlier is that some amount, it mentions 250 million, what did you say?
Of course, so far this base.
And he's assuming that if 250 million is said to have been paid out, it means each caterer had a share.
Of course,
it's
yes.
possible that
All of
some
them.
caterers, no. Do we have
the list?
Evidence? Yes.
The list of how the disbursements of the 250 was done.
Well, definitely for accountability sake, for budgeting sake, you have the list.
Okay. No,
I'm
saying,
so
I'm asking
let's
for the list to the effect of what Honorable Rudolph is asking, that perhaps not every single caterer who is owed money might have benefited from the first tranche of payment that was done.
Yes, it's the minister that can provide us with that information. I don't have the
So it's not justifiable to say that some people each have had something and they are still complaining. Because you don't simply have the evidence to say what you are saying.
Oh, go to the district.
You also don't have evidence that everybody did not get.
No, I'm taking what they're saying for the truth.
Right.
But why would you take theirs for the truth?
Why? Because they're saying that
you wouldn't take the ministry's own for the truth.
They say they paid everybody something. They say
the minister paid to
million.
Of course.
The distribution.
The minister
took it.
Come.
It doesn't mean everybody.
Honestly,
if you have
tell the world that yes,
and you pay 250 million and maybe 65 got it, can the 45 complain?
And that's
the point I'm saying.
The situation is that
I'd rather give the benefit of the doubt
about
to the
250 million to them as part payment. When they talk about to them, if we have 1,000 of them, the 1,000 of them are supposed to benefit. If along the way some coordinator somewhere mismanaged issues and some people have not been paid a little bit of what they owe them, that's a different matter.
Okay.
But why would you not take the caterers' issues as the truth and leave out the ministry when the ministry is also telling us
worried
that
about
this is how much we
this
pay?
matter because of the free SHS and the fact that the children will get free meals and day students will get free lunch every afternoon. The conversation stretches into that. That's also school feeding.
That's it. We have two different angles.
Okay.
The fundings for the programs are different. What from the school feeding, the funding for the school feeding, and the policy is different, and the policy for the free SHS is also different. So let's tackle it from those two angles. If you want to look at it that yes, these are all programs that will make sure that it should be sustainable, that is what we can. But the governor has assured us over and over that yes, adequate preparation be made for especially the free SHS, and therefore schools are not going to have their heads to worry about feeding, especially the day students and those. I'm in a secondary school myself, and I know what's going on, and that they're having regular meals, and the children are so happy.
I'm very surprised.
Why are you surprised?
You know what?
No.
I have contra evidence.
That they are not feeding them.
Let me tell you.
They are not feeding them.
Allow him to.
You know the menu for the first years is different from the menu for the other students, the continuing students. And what is in that menu? The cash to back that is not there. So
please,
what is happening
in your constituency?
Oh, I not just in my constituency.
Okay, so where does this evidence point?
Look, the evidence points to the fact that the proposition to give the first years very good meals, it's not happening. What they're eating is ordinarily what the other students are eating.
Hold on, sir.
Because it's not backed by the cash.
Okay. What are they eating? Honorable Rudolph, the menu you saw.
Please, I know schools. I know schools where you are supposed to eat beef. You're supposed to eat this. The menu is very different from the other menu.
And what are they eating? That is different from that.
Ordinarily what they are using to feed the other students, which is not what the menu is proposing.
Look, when you come to my school, for instance, if they are supposed to take egg, the day that they have to take egg, the day they take beef, the day they take chicken, fish, it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
So I'm surprised
that which school's menu did you see?
Oh, I've seen that of Laura Secondary School.
Okay.
And you can go
and they are not abiding by it.
It's not they are not abiding. It's not supported by the cash. You don't have the means to give the kind of menu.
How? I'm surprised.
Go and check.
This is, I'm not doubting what he's saying. that is the truth. It's not the truth though, but the capacity he's using to say so is that from the onset of this program, the free SHS, the NDC are being against it. So they will come and sit here and tell the world that it is not working. When the students are benefiting, you can call the headmasters. I'm please giving an example of Laura Senior High School. Call the headmaster, call the presidents and all that, and check. Because I know it's not a fact. I know from my school at Anglican Senior High School in Kumasi, I can point to the fact that yes, they are fed according to what the government says, the meal that they should be given. Go to your school must be very like. But you benefited from the free scholarship and that you ate a lot of food there.
Interesting.
I'm not saying something different. So why wouldn't you want others to also benefit from this?
Who's saying that? No, nobody saying that. I'm just saying that.
He hasn't said that others should.
No, I haven't said that.
No, but when you tell us that no, it's not working, it's not going to work, and that's by what you know, that is not. Why can't you go ahead and bring it out the other?
The screen is okay. So we'll pick some messages on the conversation we've had so far. Okay, so WhatsApp, you can send it to us 050-823-522. It says, good morning, TV3. Where's Dr. Baumia? Somebody who always needs to organize the secondary school, it says pupils, their students, during the campaign time. Today, what is going on in the country? Free SHS should not be done in a rush. All we're saying is that it should have been progressively free as enshrined in the NDC manifesto. Free SHS cannot be used as a gamble for political expediency. MPP will surely pay the price for fooling Ghanaians with that this good but poorly implemented initiative. Osman Burgison in Tamale. Last one I was says, good morning to you and your viewers. The people of the Upper West region show their appreciation and thanks, Baraka, to the President for bringing free SHS and restoration of, gentlemen, hold on, teachers and nurses allowance. God bless, Mr. President. Gentlemen, sorry about that. We're reading some messages for our guests. Adversity is a fact of life. It can be controlled. Thank you very much. Okay, I think the security force must beef up their operations because the armed robbery are becoming too much of late. And we, the citizens, should also help the police to identify the armed robbers staying in our territories. Nana Anoche in Kentikrono. Yakubu Walewale says Operation Weed NPP out of power for taking the country Ghana and rule with propaganda, lies and hardship on Ghanaians. NPP promised making Ghanaians living condition better. But as a layman living in Walewale and a professional teacher, I teach at Walewale Junior High School for the past 2 months. I have taught without salaries. How do I take care of my family? Because of the name validation process, you say. MPP also promised of paying teachers' salary arrears up to date. Zero payment is still ongoing. MPP also promised of making free education for Ghanaian students and ended up destroying the quality of education in Ghana. Well, okay. Good morning, please. Okay, we'll talk about that surely. Last one says, good morning to you and your panelists. The government is undertaking specific policy and practical intervention initiatives, including capacity building, international cooperation, judicial enforcement of cybercrime legislation, and implementation of technical standards, and Scourge. Nanado, giving Barbara Mahama a job in your government is not going to solve the problem. For Christ's sake, she was not jobless when the husband got murdered like a ball of bed. I beg, give the hero a deserving justice. Well, we're told that the bill has been sent to Parliament by the Honorable Defense Minister. So the President is fulfilling what he promised, I think. Good morning, TV3 crew. Senior Bright to report himself. Well, Bright will come. Our railway should be well structured. If you go outside Ghana, their railway is totally different and well mechanized. Not even it's electricity that operates them. Okay, thank you very much, Oscar. Johnny, we're seriously not enthused about the way the Minister for Gender is running the school feeding program. This program is not a military operation for it to be run in such an insensitive manner. If value cannot be appreciated, depreciation should not be the alternative. The current state of the feeding program is stinking. It's not funny at all. Not good for Ghana. Hashtag save the school feeding program. Emilia in Nasawasi says, instead of giving quality education, they are trying to give phones to students. What a visionless administration of the day. Aren't we ashamed? We talk about free education, that our children aren't learning anything due to lack of all the things that will help them achieve their dreams. Madam Information Minister should please come again. That's the Communication Minister, you mean. Ghana deserves better. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Presenter. You know my brother, our railways needs to be restructured. No need to wait until there are rise of happenings to cause damage before we rise up. Thank God no debt is recorded. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see. Okay, Johnny, it's not about lack of commitment to implement the ECOWAS single currency. It's about setting convergence requirements the West African countries must meet. For example, the countries must equally have single-digit inflation, lower interest rate, 3 to 6 months import cover in terms of foreign reserve at their central banks and others. However, when some 2 countries from the ECOWAS region meet and the convergence requirements, others struggle to meet them. There's also the issue of certain countries who might want to cook up their country's economic outlook or reports, making the whole process difficult to come to a finality. Jacob Anand Okan from Teshi Sea Lady. Thank you very much. Bonti Benjamin in Achiwe Bwako says, we pray the resolution by the ECOWAS leaders to revive the process that will make members trade with the common currency by 2020 yields the best results to enhance the economic potentials among member states. ECOWAS deserves better. AU Farouk says, where is this incompetent government sending us to? Everything they do is like a mirage. God save us. Good morning, TV3. We are not serious as a country because on one hand our brothers are asked to stop galamsey, yet government is busy giving new concessions to foreign mining companies, and they are on aside mining. Come to Talensi district and you see things for yourself. Philip Yin from Tongo. And government should be ready for more demonstration, especially from teachers, because they have failed teachers as they have refused to pay our senior in Adidome. And good morning, TV3. Some caterers have not received their monies at all. Madam Grace Atiodon from Congo and others are victims. Philip Yin from Tongo. Interesting what the thoughts expressed there. But let's get on to another issue that has come up. The Kwesi Botwe report is come up. We're told that the NDC had 200 cars intended for presidential correspondence. They never got wind of it. Only about 5 of them got it. Some quarterly amounts that were supposed to have been paid to them, and so many other things. We have had members of the NDC discredit the report and say it is not out. What the media is quoting from is fake and all of that. Is the report out yet, Honorable?
I will say no comment.
Why?
For the simple reason that every party has a structure. It's run by a structure, there's leadership. Our leadership is saying that report is fake. And that's what I stand by.
The members of the committee are not dismissing the report. So,
which members of the committee? The committee was commissioned to do a particular job.
Right.
It has done its job. The report is not theirs anymore.
Okay.
The report belongs to the party. The party has a governing body. The governing body is saying that that report is fake.
The issues that are emanating, from the report must be very
which report are you talking
disturbing.
About? Which report?
Disturbing.
Which report?
The Kwesi Botwe report.
The fake report you are which report?
So it's fake.
I'm saying that is what the position is.
Have you seen the report?
Oh, I don't need to see the report.
Okay. You don't need to see it.
I need to trust and believe in what my leaders say. And my leaders are saying that there's no report like that out there. And that is what about it.
So, would you like to see the report?
Oh, would I like to see the report?
Yes.
Of course. Of course. Why won't I like to see the report?
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Sampoi, so the report, Honorable says is fake, and that's been the song we've been hearing, that it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. And yet the media continues to quote portions of that report. This is what we're told, that 200 cars were earmarked for presidential correspondent. They didn't get it. Some amounts of money, they didn't get it. We're told also that money meant for campaign and other, situations were not out there. Mr. Boafo, for example, of the Cocoa Board, says that between 16th and 24th of December alone, we have about some $400 million dollars spent. Is this report fake in your eyes as well?
The report is genuine.
How do you know that is genuine?
Of course.
Can you show me a copy?
But you've not seen it.
Can
you've not read it, and you tell me it's fake.
I'm saying that the owners of the report,
you sat here
which is the
telling the world that you have not cited. You have not cited. You have not cited the report. You've not read it.
I'm saying that the leadership of my party,
I believe
Who are the owners of the reports are saying that it is fake, and I stand by it.
One radio station interviewed one of the coordinators
so
of
you
the
say
allow him to
let
wrap
him
up.
show me the report.
One of the coordinators.
He has seen it.
One of the coordinators.
Have you seen the report?
One of the coordinators.
Have you seen the report?
As a booklet?
Yes.
No, but as a soft copy. I've read it.
Oh, you've seen a soft copy.
You see, there's this guy who responded to interviews by a radio station in Accra and told the world that yes, it is a fact that on election day they were fed by the NPP. And therefore, by 4 a.m., they were so hungry, some of them left. And this is what was captured in the report and collaborated by an NDC coordinator for the Upper West region. All right?
No, let me correct
he talked about, he spoke about this.
Let me correct you.
We need to be going now,
but you know, what's important is that, you see, they are telling us a report for the party.
A monitor.
Now,
a monitor is supposed to be talking from somewhere in Wa. He calls him an
He mentioned the name.
A monitor. An election day monitor.
No, a coordinator.
No, there is no. It's a monitor. We all listen to this.
So he's a monitor.
Oh, it's fake news too.
Oh,
everything sounds. It's a personal NDC.
If he's
was he not a monitor?
Report, is that not fake news?
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable.
You know the most interesting aspect. They're now telling the world that the report is for the party and therefore should be discussed by the party.
It's the property of the party.
Before the election,
is that wrong?
When they were telling that the NPP was a disunited party and all that, they were quoting a report, a party report that we never put it out there to the public domain, and that was what.
Is it a tit for tat situation?
No, a tit for tat situation. We did not write the report.
Are you jubilant over?
No, we're not. You see, I'm very much concerned. I'm in politics. I'm a politician. If a party loses an election,
I thank you very much for your time. Is the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, and Rudolph Amenya Antigo is the MP for Chiana Paga. They my guest this morning on the news review segment. I trust you enjoyed yourself. So let's talk about school feeding program and their own set of wahala that they have. Enjoy this.
It's 9:30 a.m. and people here from class 1 to 6 are being served their food as part of the school feeding program. And the sad thing is that the JHS students are not part. And this is because the policy doesn't cover them. The school feeding program was established in 2005 by the government of Ghana with support from the Dutch government. Beneficiaries of the program are to be served one nutritious meal every school day. This is to help increase enrollment in public basic schools, improve attendance and retain pupils in school. Yet, not all public basic schools across the country are benefiting from the intervention. But at least some 1.7 million school children are currently benefiting from the initiative across the 216 districts.
We are looking at places where levels of poverty are very high. And so we are talking about deprived communities where food is very scarce, where there's hunger, and where you can find hunger-related disease like malnutrition and so on and so forth. 2011, we realized that some of the communities were not supposed to be on the school, so we did what we call the retargeting. Basically, it was to take off the schools from there and send it to communities, more deprived communities.
While the gender ministry is yet to rope in other basic schools, junior high students have waded in, arguing the need for them to be included in the social intervention program. Their arguments come at the back of the fact that senior high school students, including day students, are being served free meals as part of the free SHS policy.
I feel bad because some of us, they don't give us plenty money. They give us 2 cedi, 3 cedi, and you pay classes 1 cedi. So if you buy food, first break 2 cedis, you cannot eat second break. I want government to give all of us food. They should give JHS to food because the SS people get food. And we are JHS, but they don't give us food. It's not fair.
They give all the prime. They must give us and give the prime. If your mother did not give you money, they must give you food to eat because you are coming to school.
As for me, no one gives money. So I just struggle myself and get some money to feed myself. Sometimes I don't bring money to school. So sometimes I don't eat since morning. So if they bring it, so I can easily get something to eat so that I can be satisfied.
But are their demands valid?
The junior high school has been jumped over, and then you come to the senior high school, they also have free meals for that matter. So there is that, call it a small gap. The government, maybe if it has escaped their attention, will take a look at it. And I would say it will be a good, because it is same parents, the junior high school pupils or chaps, eventually most of them will end up at the senior high school. And therefore the burden, if we can, why don't we lighten the burden at that level also, so that most of the pupils there, or the parents would, their burden will be, quite lighter.
For now, our focus is on the primary school children. We have not been able to cover all the primary schools in Ghana. The policy is only to cater for primary schools, public primary school, which we are doing about 40%. So you can see we still have 60% to cover.
The policy also emphasized on the need to use locally grown foodstuffs with a target to procure at least 80% of food from local communities and smallholder farmers. While some efforts have been made to procure local food, the bulk of the food cooked in the schools is brought in. But why would the caterers purchase the food items from markets outside school communities?
No money. We've taken the loans and the bank as harassing us. We can't get any direct money to go and buy. So if somebody, instead of buying something 1 million, they will give it to you 150. Because you don't have money, you have no option. The children have to eat, they have to survive, you see? So you have to do that.
Statistics indicate the current local procurement stands at slightly less than 20%. The program, since its establishment, has also been fraught with challenges. Caterers are often not paid on time, leading to picketing and protests.
We have some concerned some caterers here, and they are coming from the Ashanti region, Greater Accra, as well as the Eastern region. And what basically they are saying is that they have worked so hard for several months and they have not been paid. And they are threatening to embark on a strike if government or the gender ministry does not pay them their monies.
We are demanding our money. They should pay us so that we can get some job to do. We own people. We own bank, we own market women, store women, we own everybody, we own them. We are begging the government, it should give us our money. We need our money. All that we need is our money. The enrollment too, today they will give you, if your normal is 100, today they will give you 50, tomorrow they will give you 10, tomorrow they will give you 20. And our enrollment is, making on and off. We don't care about that. We say all that we are saying is we need our money.
The issue of arrears in the school feeding program remains a concern to the caterers. Even as the school feeding secretariat appears not to have plans in sight of ending it, there are calls for inclusion. But the question still remains,
which category of students should benefit from free meals? Should it be pre-basic, basic, or senior high school? To some, it is interesting why pre-basic schools were not in the initial plan. Well, the political ball is still rolling. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
Welcome back. Let's have a conversation about women in politics. And we understand that the Progressive Organization for Women's Advancement, in collaboration with the University of Ghana and the Center for Social Policy Studies, they put together a very special platform. They call it the POA Forum, and it will be happening sometime towards the end of the month, the 31st of October, actually. I've been joined by two gorgeous ladies who are very fine brains as well, Dr. Antoinette Tibu-Daku and Victoria Hammer, a very well-known face in Ghanaian politics. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
How are we doing on this Wednesday morning?
We're good. We are blessed to be alive.
Doc, issues about women in politics always starts on the same point. Access into politics, the reaction that they get when they get into politics, and then how they exit politics sometimes. The story is not so pleasant. What has been your experience?
I think basically we're growing. We are a society. Dynamism is coming to Ghana. So it has been that in the past, yes. In my experience, I think it hasn't been too much of a very friendly story, a very good story. But times are changing. Society is transforming.
Okay.
So my expectation is this would also change.
You are working, you work with the University of Ghana. From your perspective, I mean, I'm sure it's a political science point of view, are we encouraging women to get into politics as much as we should?
Research, so I'll go more the research background. Research shows that in the 1800s, following all these revolutions, demonstrations, right to vote, feminism, things have changed. So the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, we have moved forward. So more women in health, more women getting educated, economic participation of women has also increased. So automatically, women's participation in politics should also improve. But I think what is lacking and what hasn't been put in place is the proper institutions, the proper policies. So the framework that encourages women who have a passion to participate in politics is what is absent. And more or less, if we should put these in place, then as society transforms, we would encourage more women to go into politics.
Vicky, you've been missed, but you're a very well-known face in Ghanaian politics. Now you put up the Center for Social Policy Studies. Really, what do we hope to achieve with all of this?
Oh, well, thank you very much. So point of correction, I represent the Progressive Organization for Women's Advancement.
Okay.
And we are in collaboration with the Center, the University of Ghana Center for Social Policy Studies.
Right.
So the platform is the POA Forum. The POA Forum, of course, is initiated by Progressive Organization for Women's Advancement, which is my organization. It's an organization that was formed many years ago. And over the years, the thoughts and ideas that inspired it has changed. And so today, when we talk about POA, our vision is to achieve social justice through inclusion and equity. And so the POA Forum basically is to be able to create a platform that can have conversations that can have gender perspective. There are many conversations going on in our society about poverty, about our energy crisis, about health, about sports, entertainment, and all that. But we want to be able to speak gender into those conversations, and so to inform policy, so that the policy can address marriage issues that are specifically that affect women. So the POA Forum is to do that. And the first conversation we are going to have is to discuss why there are still fewer women in Ghanaian politics. And most importantly, the point is, what must we also do to increase more women in Ghanaian politics?
What have you found to be the key reason why there are fewer women in politics?
Well, this is a global issue. Inequalities in every aspect of society is a global issue, not just in politics, in business, in economics, in health.
In the case of Ghana, what
although
is
there's
the striking?
improvement, but of course, in the case of Ghana, the variables are not too different across board. But I would say that culture plays a significant role, and lack of effective political will, because there have been affirmative policies that have been considered over the years, since, you know, forgive me, since the time of independent struggles, the first parliament that was put to be was encouraged by Osagyefo Toto Kwame Nkrumah through the People's Representation Assembly, if I get it right. I think 10 women across the regions were elected into the first assembly, which is the first legislation or the first parliament. That was a deliberate policy, and that was progressive. But as Dr. Ani said, over the years we have gone through various phases of political upheavals through, you know, military stage coup d'etats and all that. So these things might have accepted the process. So right now, yes, the gender relations when it comes to power representation or dynamics is very uneven, and it's unencouraging, and that's what the forum seeks to address.
I am concerned about the talk usually about not giving women access into politics, so that if you go into a constituency where, you know, even at party level where primaries are being held, the argument is that, oh, Oyoba, she's a woman, she understands the issues of the masses better, and so we should give her a chance. And sometimes not necessarily because the woman is qualified. Do you side? And 2016 is a classic example. We've had so many of those ones. Is that the way to go? That when there's a woman involved, we need to let down the bar or the standard so that the women can enter?
Affirmative policy is a deliberate policy. And the point that you made, that we need to let down the bar. What
no,
kind
I'm
of
asking,
bar?
I'm asking, is that the way to go?
No, the affirmative policy is saying that historically there is, you know, there is inequalities that exist. The only way in order to achieve equity or parity or equality, in this case in governance process, is to put certain structures to be able to, you know,
structures like what?
No, like policy, like certain frameworks. You know, for example,
there's a legal regime
for example,
which will give birth to the policy, which will now come to implementation. So if you're talking policy, it means that we already have the legal regime. So is it the problem with implementation?
Policy is a functional element of laws.
Beautiful.
You understand? So you have to translate the laws to be effective.
Beautiful.
And policies are dynamic.
Is it a matter of implementation that we have a problem?
No, I think there's in two ways. I mean, the ideas in societies are constantly changing. So today we are looking at more inclusive approach to development. So then it means that we must have policy to inform the new dynamics. For example, you know, the first, during our historical stage, political stage, we have, you know, gone through series of political processes. So this is a time where the global demand is saying that we need to ensure, as a question of what? Human rights, as a question of democracy, and as a question of, you know, yes, development, we need to ensure that women must be engaged in the processes of governance. So let me make this point. And so that means that the existing laws, we have the 1992 Constitution, we've had it for how many years now? What it means is that in order for the Constitution to be functional, there must be policy within the framework of the Constitution to address
and that's what I'm asking you. Do you see that?
Do I see what?
You're talking about the 1992 Constitution, and I'm saying that policy will emanate from the legal framework, which will be implemented. So then I'm asking, is it your view that we do not have those things?
Yeah, I mentioned many points here. I said that we have the legal framework that gives the constitutional right for everybody to participate in the elections.
Absolutely.
But there are challenges embedded in culture.
Is that not enough? The fact that it's open to everybody to participate?
No, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
So
Doc, I'll come to you now. We've had the first of many women. Our electoral commissioner is a woman. Our chief justice, the first one, is a woman. We've had another chief justice, the current, which is a woman. We've had a speaker of parliament, who's a woman. We've had female justices. We've had women in high positions. We've had our current chief of staff, Imopari, is a woman, and women in very high places.
Yes.
Are we not making progress?
We are, and that's what I'm explaining here. Yes, it is true that culture underpins a lot of things, but I also believe that it's not an excuse. we are making the progress. But we should understand that development didn't happen overnight. It comes gradually. So when we have dealt with all these issues, you need a woman to be educated, you need a woman to have good health. But I think that when we talk about institutions, we are not only talking about institutions and policies as what we see in our constitution, we are also talking about institutions that allow women to marry their professional life and their family life. So in the Scandinavian countries, you find out that you find more women in politics, more women occupying a lot of important positions because they made a conscious attempt. So despite their institutions and their policies, they had quotas, but they also made sure that a woman had good maternity leave, had conditions that allowed the woman to marry the two. And I think that is where we need to go. If we want to make conscious effort, it's not just going to be about the laws that you see in our constitution and the written, but our own laws at home. What we grow domestically would also help us. So we see the challenges. Let's address them.
Is it the case that because most women shy away from politics, Vicky won't shy away from politics, but she would tell you that her mates from the University of Ghana, some of who even go to read political science, shy away from politics, and they would rather want to sit in as a teller in a bank or work in some office as some secretary somewhere. Is that the main challenge? Is that a challenge as well?
Well, you can't really say it's a challenge and it's not a challenge.
Why can't we say it's a challenge? If you train as a political scientist, then you would want to be a banker instead.
I think that, I mean, if you are passionate about something, you would follow it. Vicky, she did student politics. I did student politics in University of Ghana over 20 years ago. But I didn't go the political way. I mean, my career now is in academia. I think it's about your passion. If you are very passionate and you have a very strong will to go ahead with something, you shouldn't make the challenges inhibit you. Okay. And I also think that one thing that we are failing to do is we are failing to encourage our children. You know, that girl child, if she wants to go into politics, encourage her. And I said it yesterday that if we have school clubs and we have more females standing for positions, these are all ways of encouraging more women to go into politics. So we shouldn't block these very little chances that we see at subtle. They would grow into bigger chances. So these are the hindrances that I'm talking
Interesting.
about.
Vicky, you did a lot of student, both of you actually. If you look at the NUCS structure, for example, Women's Commissioner reserved for women. Then you have Secretary reserved for women. The rest, male-dominated. Must it change? Yes, it must change. And the point you made that you mentioned some women, few women who have been able to make it to the high echelon of political structures. Yes, that is not representation of women, and that is very tokenistic. And so it is not encouraged, and that is why deliberate policies to address that is important. These platforms, NUCS platforms, where at my time was just a women's commissioner that was reserved. So I contested for that position with other women, and I became the women's commissioner in 2005. So it's encouraging to know that other platforms like the secretary, I'm not informed about that, is also reserved. The point is, the only way we can alter this historical injustice in society, in terms of inequalities and all that, in terms of discrimination, is to have deliberate policy. And like Doc said, one, we must, it's not just, when we talk about institutions, it's not just a hard institution of states and all that, it's about the soft laws, it's about the culture norms, the values and all that. I remember when President Akufo-Addo set out to announce his list of ministers and cabinet appointees, there was that deliberate attempt to have women, a certain quota for women, and that largely has been satisfied. So what more could we be looking for?
Well, yes, like we've been saying, it's been incremental, and development takes time over a period. But there are historical records of countries that have also, had exponential rates in development. So political will is fundamentally very important.
Those countries
that will be achieving, very minimum incremental progress. The last election, for example, the 2016 elections, we actually went lower than Denmark. And when we look at the global, at least the sub-region statistics comparatively, Ghana is not doing well. Senegal has about 42% of women in parliament. So and we pride ourselves as a beacon of African liberation and independence.
So then the question comes, how about the women who get the chance and irrespective of the fact that it's a man's world, do not satisfy the quest or the thirst of the people, and so have had to be pushed out.
I think that statement is factually and historically incorrect.
Why
that
is
statement is a reflection of what ideas that society hold about women. When a man and a woman are all given opportunity to serve in any capacity, the man starts from the position of competence. A woman, because of the social norms and values that goes against her, that is, that goes against her, she starts from the position of incompetent, and she must prove to be competent.
Is that it?
That is.
There's so many women in this country who have risen to.
No, there are few women. You see, when you talk about,
there's so many women.
You
can mention the Joy Sais, the Christian churches, the Ama Benyuado. I'm mentioning names because these are names that have been
there. No, my dear,
there.
you have to look at relativity here. These are very tokenistic. They don't represent the women, the large women in this country.
When you say they don't represent women, how do you mean?
The men are everywhere.
Because the men want to be there.
Not because the men want to be, because the institutions allow men to be there.
I have a co-host who's female. This morning, I started a show with 2 females. My newscaster is a female. My co-host is a female. I'm the only male on the set.
That is why research approach to policy is important. Yes. Because we sit back, and I heard people say that, there are a lot of girls going to university now.
If you do research,
you realize that
it's not true.
I
mean, the numbers diminish. The numbers diminish from the graduate stage to the postgraduate and to the PhD level.
Whose fault is
it?
Who do we put the fault on?
Society.
Because
society.
When you say society, society is a bit ambiguous.
No, you need to do it society. Don't put the blame on men. Don't put the blame on women. Put the blame on society.
Where in Ghanaian society, women have a bigger percentage. So then
whenever you try to define society just as men and women, you lose track of what you're talking about.
Right.
What is society? Society is the totality. It's about what we've grown up to accept. It's about what has been practiced over a long period of time. It's about how everything is shaped, our laws, how we appreciate. And I tell you, especially, it's about our development process. Social transformation is what I think is the key here. Okay, that as society transforms, we need to put in place the structures that would help us to achieve what we want to achieve. So if we have set a goal that by 2020 we want a certain quota of women, we work towards it. But until we start doing that, we wouldn't get there. Things will just come along the way, and that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for a society that transforms and evolves into a development, a good, strong, developed nation that has a better representation of women. It's not just about women being in politics. It's about women in positions. Now, in Ghana, you need to be in politics to be in position. So that's where this whole argument is coming from.
I think that's not entirely correct. If you, for example, Media General, our group CEO is a female. Our station manager at 3FM is female. Our head of commercial is female. I mean, you can count. The woman speaking to me from the control room, ahead of the directors and everybody here, is female as well.
You're counting.
No, I'm counting because I'm telling you.
But that's a problem.
No.
See, once you can count, it clearly shows that.
Once you can count.
It clearly shows that.
If you can have.
Give us the proportion. Why don't you count the men?
If you can count, and if you can have 1,000 people at the base, and you can have 5 people at the top who actually call the shots, who are all female, which is better.
It's good.
Which is better. So I am counting on the basis that these people are in positions of authority and they call the shots.
They do, and they are
so
not
that
politicians.
They are not just underdogs who are there to take orders. They control affairs.
It's amazing.
I mean, if my group CEO calls and tells me not to do this or not to do that, I am a man, but I can't say anything. I will have to do it.
I think that you have to understand gender from a holistic point of view. Can I finish?
You see, the argument that I am counting, it doesn't.
No, let me make the point. You are counting. Now, I was having this conversation with a friend, and he says that, oh, women are, doing so well, they're in business and investment and all. I said, yeah, you can go to the market and see a whole bunch of women. Put into it, I'm not economics, but the collective wealth in this country, largely 70% is controlled by men. And this is backed by statistics. It's not enough, my dear, it's not enough sitting in the market, going to the marketplace and seeing women in turbo top selling tomatoes and say that women are economically empowered. When we put the entire wealth of the country together, men control 70% of the wealth.
What percentage are women looking for? Are you clamoring for, are you fighting for?
No, women are not.
It's not about the percentage that we
no, but that's eventually,
it's not about
essentially that's what we're talking about. She's talking about 70% of men controlling. So it is not satisfactory to you.
The point is,
it's about the fact that
what percentage?
Can we give a platform for more women to go in?
So platform.
Can we give the forum? Can we open up? Can we give a chance for women who have always had the fear?
Platform that will give them what percentage? 60-40, 70-30, 50-50?
My brother, it's not about the numbers. It's about improving the...
But you just mentioned 70-30.
Can you relax till I finish? It's about improving the entirety of society's well-being.
But you just mentioned 70-30. I'm using your own scale of measure.
Women play an integral part, very important part in society.
I agree.
When it comes to public health, when it comes to family structure, systems and everything. These are very significant roles that women play.
It doesn't negate the fact that you just mentioned 70-30.
No, historically, every country that have invested in the progress of women has ensured transformation of the country in itself.
So you mentioned 70-30. I'm asking, it is not satisfactory to you. What percentage will be satisfactory to you? 60-40, 50-50?
What do you think?
I don't know.
No, I
am not asking. She's the one making the
I think that we limit the argument.
The greater percentage now goes.
What is wrong if you achieve equity?
So if
or equality, what is wrong with that?
So you're looking for 50-50.
No, what is wrong with that?
That's it.
What is wrong with that?
Okay, let's talk about the conference. Tuesday, 31st of October is when it's happening. 4:30 p.m. British Council. Quickly tell me who will be there, and let's wrap up the conversation. What will we be talking about?
So from the Center for Social Policy Studies. Center for Social Policy Studies is a research institution. We are into a lot of research and advocacy. We are under the College of Humanities from the University of Ghana. And Professor Ellen Bote-Doku-Aite will be there representing the center. So CSPS is collaborating with POA for this very interesting forum. Victoria, the others?
Yes, and we have also, the panelists are very diverse, you know, in terms of experience and achievement and the contributions we hope that they'll bring to the conversation at the POA forum. So we have, as you mentioned, Professor Ellen Bote-Doku-Aite, Dr. Vladimir Chidanso, Honorable Nana Oyelita, Honorable Christine Cheche. You remember her?
Yes, I do.
She is an amazing
Christine
woman.
Cheche. Education,
enormous experience in politics. She's been a member of parliament for 12 years. And of course, she was also, I think, the first, mayor of Cape Coast. And then Dr. Lawrence Tete as well. And so it promises to be a very interesting conversation.
Interesting one.
Because gender is a very broad issue, and we think that in order to address it effectively, we must draw from the various diversities in our society.
Interesting
conversation there. But Johnny, I just want them to wrap up with this, discussion, because there's a 4-year-old girl who has been raped in somewhere in the East End. Yes, and that's very worrying because we've been talking about rape, but it seems to be on the ascendancy, and I don't know what these ladies will want to share with us before we wrap up.
Vicky first.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfortunate, and it's not a new phenomenon, and it's good that this has even come to light because rape is something women experience a lot of the times, and usually, from what I read in statistics or literature, it occurs within family, domestic environment. So we must give a public attention to it and condemn it. And there has been a culture of blaming the victim, and that is what has shied a lot of people from coming out and addressing it. So it's very unfortunate. I hope she gets the needed help in terms of her physical and psychological help. And most importantly, the corporates must be brought to
the end credit is rolling now. Eric Don Atta will be moderating the POA forum, and so be on the lookout Tuesday, 31st of October. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies, for coming. We're grateful. We'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday. We'll be throwing back.
We will.
Have a great day.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.